you get your sense of value? Not what do you value, but where do you get your sense of your pride or your confidence, or you're feeling like, yeah, I'm cool. I did something good. And Keisha was the one who brought this type of question into my mind. She was onto this way before me, but as I've been thinking about it for the 6 or 7 years that we've known each other, I've had some big learning moments. So I'll share with you, how I learned where my journey and what I, saw my value, where it was really coming from. It makes me think, actually, Keishu's dad gave the best toast I've ever heard. It was amazing. I think our jaws were dropped, right? Because Keisha was like, what's the wedding going to be like? You do weddings at music weddings, right? What's it going to be like? I said, Keisha, just be prepared, because your dad, and this happens with almost every wedding, the dad will probably say something embarrassing. And we were like, oh no, he's going to give a speech and it's going to be embarrassing. The dads do that. They just do that. I told her, don't worry, it happens everywhere. Every wedding I've seen, the dad says something embarrassing. It just happens. And to our, after I set up that tone, it was like a great, incredible shock that your dad just gave the best toast I've ever heard. And it was amazing. And then I was telling Keishu these horror stories. This one toast I heard where this guy, he's there to honor the married couple, right? But what he says is, well, I'd like to begin with a quote from a rather unknown work from one of my, just one of my favorite authors, Dostoevsky. This is an article you probably haven't heard, but I'll quote it because I think it's pertinent to today. And he just wasted 30 seconds on saying a lot of gobbledygook, right? And actually, he made everybody feel a little inferior because nobody even knew what he was talking about. So much so that the speaker after him was, I think, the maid of honor. And she said, well, I don't know literature that much, but here's what I got to say. Made me think about that guy. He was prepping the whole thing. He could have just said, here's a nice quote, right? Here's a nice quote that I thought of. But he had to have the 30 seconds explaining the cerebral achievement of it. I think we've all met people like that. They're talking to you, but what they're really saying is, I'm smart, I'm smart, I'm smart, I'm smart. Right? So clearly, maybe that guy values being smart. Right? So you can kind of see this. Now, I'm not casting judgment on this guy. I was bad too. Here's my story in a nutshell. When I discovered music, it was just a passion. I just wanted to learn it. But as I grew older and I became more professional, it was all about being busy. As a musician, how much work do you get? How many countries have you traveled to? How busy are you? It makes you feel like important, more pro. And it took me a long time to realize that actually I was kind of hooked on being busy. I think actually outside of the music world it happens too. Those people that you've met, right? Even if it could be you, because I was like this, where it's like, how you doing? Oh, I'm so busy, I'm so overwhelmed. It doesn't matter when you ask the same person that question, right? It's always busy, overwhelmed. Oh, it's just too much, I can't keep track. Maybe that's a loop happening because you kind of like being busy, right? And you're kind of hooked on it. So it's kind of, the question I would like to just ask in a soft way is, where do you get your sense of value? It's not a question you gotta answer in public or right away. It's just a thought. It's been sitting with me for 6 or 7 years. And I realized, wow, I'm just kind of into being busy. So then I changed kind of my direction and I thought, well, maybe I should be a songwriter. Maybe I should just write my thoughts down and express certain things, get it out there, and write a hit song. But then my sense of value changed from how busy am I to Well, how many radio plays can I get this song? How many millions of dollars could I make with this song? Or how many fill in the blank, right? It's taken me a long time, and now I'm at this point where I've changed that. I think about the athlete who had a great career, but maybe it was short. He got injured. What does the athlete do? And how does he handle it when he's no longer able to play the sport that he was really good at? There's a lot of stories about athletes that go into a big funk after they lose that career. So their sense of value must have come from, I'm a great football player. Without that, what am I? The smart guy, I'm really smart. Without that, what are you? And I think I would apply it to even people like myself or like my parents, or sometimes we work so hard building something that it becomes everything about where we get our value. So as we know, you know where this is going. Where does the real value come from, right? We know that it has to be something higher, something deeper. Sometimes I think, actually, I loved practicing all day, all night, to the point where I was losing sleep. When Casey met me, she loves to bring this up still, that I was like pale and malnourished and like under no sleep, insomnia. I was still a mess. And I think I liked it a little bit. I liked that suffering. Kind of was my badge of honor. And as I reflected over this course that I've gone for a number of years, I realized that even suffering can be kind of like your martyrdom, can be kind of where you get your sense of your value. So, which is actually not good, because God really just wants the relationship, right? It's all about the relationship with the joy, the effort, the heart. And sure, there might be what we call indemnity or price to pay along the way, but really it's about joy. Joy of doing, joy of loving. So I was thinking about this, what you do in your life, and this is where I'm at now. I'll skip ahead and tell you where I'm at now. I was really inspired by a thought leader I was listening to about 6 months ago, and he said, after poverty is solved, which it can be, and after the unbanked people of the world have access to either banks, or maybe they're their own bank, right, with technology, and we have renewable energy, and we have internet all over the world, and Casey used to work for telecom, and still does to some capacity, and they are ramping up telecom all over the world. Am I right about that? They're ramping it up. Telecom industry is going like this. They're trying to get internet all over the world, all over the place. So once the whole world has internet, and the whole world has clean water, and the whole world has, then what? Maybe a billionaire or a millionaire won't mean very much at that point, because everybody will have access to what they need, or everybody will have the opportunity to make a lot. And so this speaker that we were listening to was saying, in the future, billionaire won't mean $1 billion. Billionaire will mean positive influence and positive impact on 1 billion people. And that inspired me in Casey. I was thinking, we could chase trying to be millionaires or billionaires, but why don't we skip ahead and just go for positive impact on 1 billion people of this planet? I think and then you see the weekly update, right? And it's all about the 7.5 billion people. That's what we're hearing from Mother Moon. So this is kind of the next wave coming, I believe. How do we positively impact 1 billion people? And I thought that is such a great currency. That's a way to count the value of something that's different than money, right? So we need to move away from our sense of value can get a little tripped up, but where I think you can really count on is trying your best to draw value from improving other people's lives, loving other people, and loving God. That's the real ultimate sense of value. It's very hard I think that's a very lofty goal. It's a very lofty goal, but I think it's worth thinking about and striving towards. So I'm at a place now where, for me, I'm no longer worried about being busy. I'm no longer worried about writing a hit song. What has been very grounding is just realizing that starting with our couple and our family and our tribe here, it's all about just making positive impact. The end. That's where we've decided, and I'm deciding just very recently, that I'm just going to focus on that. Be a good provider, be a good fill in the blank. Positive impact on other people's lives. Very simple. And actually that's cool because I've been able to take music and put it back into that original box that it was when I was a kid, which is just simple passion. Just passion. You can do things for fun, for joy, for passion, for excellence. And that's okay. But do you get your value from it? So I think the difference is, take two different athletes, hypothetical people. One that loses their career and they go into a depression, and the other loses their career and they go into charity. Or a lot of times they become announcers, right? Or fill in the blank. So the athlete that's thinking, sports is my world, it's my value, he'll take a big funk and a big dip when he leaves the sports world. It's better to say, my sense of value comes from bringing joy to people, and I guess God has given me this body that can do a lot of physical activity, so I guess I will use sports as my way to do that. And when that's no longer the way to do that, I'll find another way. I think that's more grounded. And my teachers, when I was 16 years old, he asked me, Joe, what would you do if your hands got cut off? I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, if you lost your hands, what would you do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm a guitar student. And he asked me this question. I think he's a pretty philosophical guy, actually. What would you do if you lost your hands and you couldn't play the guitar? I said, I don't know. I was a kid. I was getting scared of this question. And he said, I know exactly what I'd do. I said, what would you do? He said, I'd be a singer. And if I lost my voice, I'd be and he had like three things. He had like three backup plans. But I love that determination. God's going to use my physical form in any way possible. I heard a preacher recently that was just so inspiring. He said, God can use you right where you're at. Sometimes we get so hung up on what we've been doing the last 10 years that we think that that's the only way that God's going to use us. Well, I've only worked on music. This is my story. I've only worked on music the last 10 years. That's the only way God can use me. That's not true. God's not worried about what you do for money or what you do as a hobby. The ultimate prayer is just asking God for that direction. How can I be of use? How can you use me? How can I do good in this world? So what you do and where you get your sense of value can be completely different things. What you've been doing and what you're going to get your sense of value from in the future can be different things. If you had asked me 10 years ago, me, Mr. Busy, bus, plane, train guy, pretty soon you're going to play music on Sunday mornings and you're going to be doing mostly speaking and other things, I would have not believed it. I would have, my small mind, we always box God in to our mind, our level, don't we? So my mind was, I'm working on music, therefore God is going to work through me through music. The end. There's no other way. So what you've been doing the last 10 years may have nothing to do with how God's going to use you the next 10 years. So point 2, I think, is keep an open mind. Kind of have that ready stance. In kickboxing, we're doing kickboxing. It's like, get in your ready stance. Have that ready stance. Okay, I was doing that, but what if I'm told I could do this other thing? I get that inspiration, go for it. Also, we kind of make this mistake when we're looking at other people. I'm big on compassion and forgiveness. That's one of my favorite topics. And when we look at other people, we often think the things that they have or the things that they're doing, that must be where they're getting their sense of value. We label it too quickly. So the person with nicer clothes, they're in love with their nice clothes. They're not good people, right? We label that on. But it's actually very clear to me now, having gotten a little older, that what you do, what you manifest physically can be done healthfully. You get your sense of value from God, from your purpose in life, and you can still achieve excellence and other things in life. Or you can do it in an unhealthy way where you just live for it. So as I was looking at Bible quotes, which I didn't print today, one in the book of Hebrews says, do not develop a love for money. It doesn't say don't have money. It just says don't be in love with it. So I think that's a good distinction. I want to just kind of put these 3 thoughts as we leave. One is, have a lingering question, not in a harsh way. It's just there. Where do I get my sense of value? What makes me feel like I'm, cool? For lack of a better word. That's the dorkiest thing to say, right? Am I cool? Can't ask anybody that. But you can ask yourself that in private. What makes me cool? Right? 2 is, let's be billionaires. Affect 1 billion people on this planet. I think that's an awesome goal. I think we have the vehicle to do that with our teaching, with our faith. And 3 is, let's be compassionate to other people. And go forward knowing that, everybody gets their sense of value from something, and they may or they may not. It's not on the surface. And 4 is, keep an open mind, be in the ready stance for what you're about to do in the future. Don't get hung up on the lost years of the past. What you've been working towards the last 10 years may have nothing to do with the next 10 years. As we know, God is a sending God, right? And the more Bible stories I've been reading, the more I'm like, wow, God is just like, go there, go there, go there. So get in that ready stance and get ready to go there if you hear the call to go there. It's a very flexible thing. So thank you very much, guys. It's great to be back. And we'll see you. We have a busy month coming up, so I hope to see you all shortly and every week soon. Thank you.